Well, welcome back to When I Heard This Podcast. My name is Nate Robinson. I'm here with Pastor Dr. Joseph Tillman, D-Man Jr. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. We've cleared Christmas.
Yep.
We've cleared the New Year's.
Yep.
So, yeah, man.
More temptation this week.
More temptation.
Read the ad again.
Okay. Before we get started today with our questions, we want to shout out our sponsor, the Discipleship Group. The Discipleship Group is a systematic training for Christians who want to go deeper and grow stronger in their relationship with God. In these courses, Dr. Jay Zen brings you over 4 decades of study, pastoring, and teaching to equip the saints to make disciples. The Discipleship Group is a series of 6 books, each book consisting of 26 weeks. Therefore, it's 3 years of study. Each week has articles written by the author to read, a chapter from a supplemental book like The Passion for God or More Than a Carpenter, The Master Plan of Evangelism, and there's scripture readings each week from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Psalms. I've used the Discipleship Group resources for over a decade. I've used them in groups of 2 to 3 people. I've used them in small groups up to 12 people. And I can tell you, as a pastor, as someone who spends a lot of time making disciples and meeting with others, that the Discipleship Group resources are the best that I have found for growing in our faith and for encouraging us to go and make disciples ourselves. Go to discipleshipgroup.com, check out their resources, find out information about Dr. J, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
Website.
Yeah, could go to our website. I like the way you're changing it up this year, this time in the new year.
Oh,
doing website first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. Go to our website. And
totally not an accident.
Completely planned and intentional. But yeah, go to our website. And I think last time I said, hey, find out more about us as, you're going into the new year, find out more about us. But why don't you visit the site and buy some merch, put some new stuff on for the new year. And, yeah.
People always say that as you go into the new year, but you kind of it just like is, and then, or it isn't the new year, and then it is.
Yeah, I know, but you think like
you don't like go into it. You just
like it's kind of a thought of
it goes into you.
But there's like the movement of I'm moving toward it. I'm going into it.
Yeah, but you have no choice in the matter.
Well, I mean, no, you can't resist it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dumb phrase.
All
Patreon.
Right. All right. So, yeah, Patreon, kind of same thing, man. But go there for the different tiers and support us. And we'd love your support this year in 2026. That's the year, Nate. And
yes,
so,
it is.
So for 2026, we'd love for you to go there, support us, be part of the herd, as we're calling
right.
those. And
we forgot to say that.
Yeah. And so, So anyway, but yeah. We'd love your support. We'd love you to allow us to keep doing what we're doing. So.
2026 is our year, Joseph.
It is.
When I Heard This Podcast year.
It is looking up, my friend. It is looking up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool. Social media.
Yeah, social media. So you can go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to YouTube, and then go to all the places where you can find podcasts. And we would love for you if you like, subscribe, share, comment, ring the notification bell. That way you're alerted every time that one of our episodes drops, which is on Mondays. And we'd love to go there and help us come known to your friends,
yes,
your family, all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can go on there on Facebook and go to our page and hit invite friends and invite all your friends to like it. And then they'll be notified of everything. And you could just do it blanketly, so it's not like you're singling out one person who might need to hear this. You know what I mean?
There you go. That's actually a good move.
Yeah.
That's actually a good move.
It's like, hey, you should listen to this. Like,
right.
It won't be mean.
Right.
Like, here's a Tic Tac type situation. You have to offer it to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. We're just picking up from last time.
All right.
Because last time was one of our longest episodes ever. And it's Joseph's fault.
That's
so.
Yep, blame me. Even though it was your question that sent us down that. I know.
I'm supposed to.
I know, and I'm still trying to work on being succinct, and I'm just not very good at it.
Well, that's fine.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, it's your fault. That doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, here we go. Does God tempt us to do good stuff?
Does he tempt us to do good stuff?
Like if the devil tempts us to do bad stuff,
Mhm.
does God tempt us to do good stuff?
Okay, tempt is a weird word. No, like does God lead us to do good stuff or inspire us, point us, influence us? Yes.
Okay.
And if you're wanting to label that as the same as temptation, okay, but I've never like thought of it that way before or understood temptation to be seen as that. Yeah, I mean, like, so I mean, again, we read this last week, James 1:12. Excuse me, James 1:13. Since God is not tempted by evil and he himself doesn't tempt anyone, but that's kind of like that connection to the idea of doing evil, right? So God obviously doesn't tempt us to do evil, but enticing us to sin. And so he does test us.
Okay.
I'll say that because he does test us. So like another understanding of temptation would be like testing of our worth or our character, right? And so it talks about Abraham in Genesis 22:1. Remember when God told Abraham to take his son Isaac?
Oh,
yeah. And it says there in
God tempted Abraham to do murder.
Well, in Genesis 22:1, it says, after these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, here I am, he answered, take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him there as a burnt offering, as one of the mountains I will tell you about. So he didn't. This is kind of wild because he was testing Abraham,
Mm-hmm.
and now he was never going to allow it to be murder, right?
Okay.
Because as soon as Abraham's being faithful, Abraham's willing to do it, but then we know the story, right? God stops him. He doesn't kill Isaac. There ends up being a ram, that's caught in the bush, and so he goes and kills the ram instead, ram, and so,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so it's not like he was tempting him to do evil. Evil wasn't going to be a part of it, but there was a testing of Abraham. Are you going to obey? Are you going to follow through with this? And the result of it was a great reward for Abraham.
Okay.
So by him, quote unquote, passing the test, not only was it accredited to him as righteousness, but it was also all right, now your son, this son is going to fulfill the promise that I had, promised you, the Lord was telling Abraham of allowing Abraham to be the father of many nations. Right.
Okay.
And so, so in that sense, there was a testing of Abraham that led to a positive result, if you want to call it that way.
But
positive outcome.
So in that verse in the New Testament where it says, if you thought about whatever, that's the same as doing it. Did God not make Abraham think about murder, which is the same as doing it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think there's one thing. Okay. So I'm assuming you're referencing the idea of
lusting heart or
right,
something?
like Matthew chapter 5, right?
Yeah.
Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus says, you've heard it said, do not murder.
Right.
But I tell you, if you have anger in your heart toward anyone, you've already committed murder. Right.
Okay.
Well, but this is different though, because Abraham, even though he was willing to sacrifice his child, there was no anger. There was no, right? There was no, he wasn't angry at Isaac and therefore wanting to kill him.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's very different.
All right.
Yeah.
So God doesn't tempt us to do good stuff. He just wants us to.
Yeah, he just wants us to. And I believe the Holy Spirit in us, as born again believers, Holy Spirit in us is leading, pushing, right? But I say pushing, I mean, it might be the right word, but is wanting to cause his fruit to come forth. So, gentleness and kindness and faithfulness and, self-control, all are there. So that's what he's leading us toward, influencing us toward. But again, at the end of the day, it's our choice if we respond to that or not.
All right. What does temptation look like? Like when it's happening to me, how do I know it's happening to me? Or like how do I know it's not just life? Like, how do I know that the devil's specifically trying to get me to do something bad?
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing. Like, if temptation is the action, like temptation is there that's leading us toward an action of sin. Okay. So and the action of sin can be like a physical action, like towards someone, right? Like, I'm angry at them and I yell at them or whatever, right? And so, but the action of sin can be also like lust, for example, that you just mentioned that, like the idea of the action of, okay, now I'm going to lust after someone, not just like by viewing pornography or whatever, but, I see someone, I begin lusting, and instead of seeing someone and go, okay, they're beautiful, or, okay, I better move my eyes away, right? So that I don't lust. Instead, I stay in that place and actually engage in lustful thoughts.
How does anyone get together with anyone if there's not a little lust going on?
Well,
I don't get it.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously there's attraction, right?
Lust.
Yeah, and it's
I don't understand.
Right. No, I don't think you're completely off the mark.
Like, aren't people supposed to tempt people a little bit when they're interested in attracting them? Like, what?
Okay, well, I think there's a supposed to tempt them a little bit. Oh God. But I think there's a difference. There's a difference of me, like there is a difference of me looking at someone and saying that individual is beautiful, like acknowledging that they are beautiful, all right? And versus me sitting there lusting over them. Right? I mean, there's a distinction between the two.
I mean, you could, on paper, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you can write it up that way, but it's never that way ever.
No, I think it can be that way.
No, that's a complete joke. No one sits there and goes, "Wow, this like when there's nude art
right
at the art place and the people are standing there going, "Wow, I just love." No,
you're just lusting already.
No, you're just quit. Shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Like right. There's no distinction.
Well, no. Okay, so. I'll be honest with you. It's one of the things that actually helped me in the idea of not lusting. Hold on, follow me with this. Okay,
okay.
Someone actually said, like, to acknowledge beauty is not a wrong thing. Okay, it's not right. Okay, to acknowledge to acknowledge that and that they have been created right by God and are beautiful. Okay, like that's not a wrong thing to acknowledge beauty. It's only the after that. But what I'm is the lusting part that can follow from that. What I'm saying is it actually has helped me because I'm like, okay, it's okay, she's beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't have to engage in like lustful thoughts over her.
A lot of these girls that are beautiful now,
right,
aren't all created by God.
Well. Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I get that. And so, but I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Anyway, they're the same thing.
They're not. No, they're not. But I understand that it can be an easy move from one to the other. Right, to go.
What's the easiest move?
I mean, attracted to lustful thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm not denying
that
it's not a natural, in the sense of naturally easy move to go from point A to point B.
Oh, point A is half second.
Before you're at point B?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it has to. I don't think it has to go that way. I really don't.
Okay, bud.
Okay, I'm serious. Let me give you an example. All right, so like,
oh, goody, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so like, let's say I'm at a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so at the gym, you're working out, and
this is a bad example because everyone puts their phones up there now, and then films the person looking at them.
That's not
and
good.
Then puts it up on TikTok. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Don't look at anyone at the gym, Joseph. Nobody.
Because
Keep your head down the whole time.
because they're filming you?
Yes.
Who's filming? I'm sorry.
Girls in yoga pants.
Are filming the guys who are looking at them?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah. It was a thing last year.
Oh, okay. I'm so
or the year before.
Yeah, I'm so out of
Yeah.
I don't know. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they wanted that attention, or they were saying they're calling it people out on that attention?
No, they were saying they don't want that attention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Women don't want attention anymore.
Okay. They don't want attention.
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wear basically nothing, but I don't want the attention.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Duh.
Right. That's wild. So anyway, back to the story of this is that like, okay, for like, there's like, you see someone and you know they're attractive, but it doesn't mean I have to like stay fixated on them or engage in lustful thoughts because I see them and go, wow, they're attractive. Like I can move, like we can move from that.
Okay.
Without having to stay in that or engage in any kind of lust. Like, I'm just calling it for what it is. Like, so and this is maybe part of that, you know, renewing of our own mind, you know, and so but I don't think it has to go A to B and A is a half second and now I'm on to lustful thoughts. I don't think it has to go that way.
Since we just talked about all that,
Right.
How do I know, like, the question, though, how do I know that that's not just me, but that's the devil?
Yeah, but I think, you know, like even when we just earlier we're talking about, you know, in James chapter 1,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where it says that God doesn't tempt us, that the temptation comes from our own evil desires.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's evil desires in us.
Okay.
So I don't know if we necessarily have to sit there and go, that's the devil, that's demons, that's, you know, inside of me. Like, I don't know if we have to actually make all those determinations.
Oh, so I don't really need to even care.
Well, I mean, you care, but I'm not going to become fixated necessarily on the source of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It's just going to happen.
If temptation presents itself, I you know, again, there's evil desires in me. There's the tempter who is trying to tempt. And so, I mean, I guess there's a point in which I can sit there and begin to go, okay, this is starting to happen a lot, whether I need to be renewed on the inside or whether, you know, I need to engage in some type of spiritual warfare against the enemy and against the demonic. I guess we could go to that place. But I think when I'm dealing with temptation, it's just like, okay, so I'm dealing with temptation, whether it's from the devil or whether it's from within me, you know, how am I going to respond to the temptation that's there?
Do some people get tempted more than others?
I don't think people get tempted more than others. I think people get tempted in different areas more than others.
Okay.
Because Jesus himself was tempted. And so if the Son of God is tempted, and it says, you know, it says in Hebrews 4 that he was tempted in every way that we have been tempted, right?
Okay.
And so if that's the case, that he's tempted in every way that we can be tempted, I think we can expect temptation, but I do think, and maybe I think this is both.
Wait, he's been tempted in every way, just not with everything?
But with no sin. So he's been tempted in all right, so let me just read the exact passage here. So in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15.
Because he didn't have any children. You know?
Jesus?
Yeah.
You're saying that becomes part of the issue?
Yeah.
That was easier for him?
No, I'm just saying that was part of a life that he didn't have to get tempted with.
Oh.
Like I'm going to kill my kids today.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't be tempted with that.
No.
Because he didn't have kids.
No, right. So, yes.
I guess he could kill someone else's kids and be tempted with that.
That's brutal. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. And so in every, yeah, but how did you, I like the way you just delineated between the two. What'd you say?
Okay, like he's never going to be tempted he would never be tempted to watch porn.
Right,
because porn didn't exist back then.
Sure, exactly.
So,
But every way in regards to lust. Like, does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, tempted to lust, tempted to have anger,
Okay.
tempted. Yeah, so all of those things.
Did the Romans have like strip clubs and stuff?
Well. I mean, you know, even prostitution, prostitution. I mean, all that stuff. Was there.
That stuff was
kind of
way easier to get back then.
Yeah, I mean, it
was
part of the whole pagan
Georgia.
Religion. You know, it was
right.
So yeah, I mean, you just had all you had to do is go to the temple. There's temple prostitutes.
Cool.
Well, I don't know if it was cool.
I mean, horrible.
Yes, that's a better word. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back to your question is that Jesus was tempted, but so going back to us too. So we're tempted as well. And so again, I do think different individuals face different temptations more often than others do.
Okay.
Yeah. So one individual may be more tempted in regards to lust. One individual may be tempted more in regards to like gluttony or greed or whatever it may be.
So there isn't ever a point where devil or the demons are like, we need to tempt that guy a lot and forget about some other guys for a while and go after this one guy because of whatever reason.
No, I see what you're saying. Okay. Actually, that's a good point. Do I think there are individuals that face more temptation? Yes. Especially those who, if they fall into temptation and into those certain sins, has a catastrophically negative impact on the kingdom of God.
Okay.
So, you know, your pastors, your evangelists, your, you know, spiritual leaders that can cause individuals, like if they fall, there's like this ripple effect.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, I do think that actually is a good point. I do think those individuals experience more temptation, more attacks of the enemy than individuals that don't have that level or sphere of influence.
So you think that you get tempted more than anybody else at church?
I feel like it's going to sound egotistical, and I don't mean it that way, but probably so, in the sense of like, yeah, he's going to be tempted more because, again, if I fall, right? Like if I fall into sexual immorality, if I fall into, you know, mishandling of finances, if like like those things can have such a negative impact on so many other people, you know, at the church. Okay. And so that's why I feel like the temptation or the attack can at times be more, because if the devil senses an opening, or the devil senses a weakness, or the devil senses an inclination in my own heart to try to exploit that to my own destruction, and to try to, you know, as it says in John, that he's there to kill, steal, and destroy. Mm-hmm. And so if he can cause my own, you know, quote unquote, death through sin, if you were, then it impacts just a larger number of people, even though our church is not that large, right? Mm-hmm. But it's probably going to be more, that impact is going to be greater than others in the church.
Is that weird for your wife?
What do you mean weird for my wife? That she knows that that's a possibility, or that's happening?
That she knows that you're being tempted more than she could have married somebody else and that not be happening.
I don't know if she's ever thought about it that way.
Okay.
I guess for us, it's like trying to put up necessary safeguards and boundaries.
Okay.
And so like, you know, like I don't meet with women by myself, you know, and if there is a case where I have to meet with someone, my wife knows there's cameras in the church, like they like, you know, so like do it in a public space, a public area, not in my office, you know, like. Now, there's individuals that are like, if I go visit individuals in our church, like females that are in our church that are, you know, that are older, that's fine. Like Melanie knows, okay, I'm going to go visit, you know, Miss So-and-so today, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, cool. Like she gets that. And so, but, you know, individuals that are, you know, around my age, younger, like no. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's safeguards that we put in, for our own marriage and for that she is very much a part of, right? Like, I don't text women by like just individually. Like, it's a group thing with either their spouse or with my wife on there, And so it's just, you got like taking those steps to ensure that there is a safeguarding of and boundaries in place. The finances, I don't touch money. I don't touch cash. I can't even go to, like, I couldn't pull money out of our account if I wanted to, like, I don't have access to checks. I don't, like, none of those things. And like, that's where you just try to put these safeguards up that, you're just being very intentional about, we've got individuals at our church and they're over there counting money. We've got younger people counting money. And there's there's accountability process to people counting money, But like, I don't even do that. Someone will ask me, can take this? What do I do with it? I'm like, oh, like, don't hand it to me. There's a bookkeeper, there's a treasurer, there's a board member, and if I have to take cash for someone's paying for a sweatshirt or something at church, right? And I'm the only one there, they're paying cash. Then, all right, I'll bring out the envelope, put it in the envelope. Let's seal that thing up, and I'm putting it in the inbox. You just try to have these boundaries in place. And so, so I don't know if it's weird for my wife. She's just part of the solution, though.
Okay.
Yeah. With, especially, trying to make sure we're safeguarding our own marriage, relationally, against any kind of emotional or, physical, temptation with another woman.
Do you ever talk about, could that get worse? Like, could the tempting get worse? Like, if this grew?
Yeah, actually, yeah. We have actually, because, so like way early on in our marriage, my wife read this book where there's a pastor and he comes to this smaller country church. The country church grows, and then he falls, and then he has an affair. Mm-hmm. And so, to answer your question, yes, like, because that's kind of stuck with her. And initially that was like part of like, and I say initially, like early on in our ministry or in our marriage, because I was in pastoral ministry from point one, it was like you had these guidelines, right? And so there are times where my wife will even come up to me and go, I don't feel comfortable with this person, okay. And just, or, hey, be careful with this individual, like my wife is very discerning and very intentional with that.
Was I one of them?
No, you were not one of them.
Darn.
No, I'm sorry. And so, that would have been really weird. All right. And so, but yeah, so she's like, she's been, so, for the, 21 plus years of our marriage, she's been very intentional about that.
Okay.
And so yes, so she's,
so your wife just comes to you and slut shames, basically.
No, it's usually,
watch out for her. She's a total whore.
No, to be,
hey,
yeah.
I know church people.
Yeah. No, so my wife, no, it's usually not like, it's not that, like, it's actually never been that. It's, hey, just, be mindful of this individual. I just, I'm just, and maybe you're going, no, that's the same thing, but like, like, hey, I feel a little uncomfortable, feel a little uneasy, and that kind of thing. Or, hey, especially like when you have individuals that are single or that we've been doing counseling with, and I'll never do counseling with a female by myself. Like my wife will always.
And you already know that they're broken and easy, and okay, yeah. I got you.
And so my wife does all that counseling with me, with somebody, Yeah. And so sometimes she'll be like, hey, just be mindful, just be careful, because usually that individual, like, they're being vulnerable with you. And so it creates an emotional connection.
Right.
And so that's not bad. Like, that's not like evil or anything. It's just, but just be mindful of that, and so, yeah, and because I have because I have more of an I have more of an outgoing type personality anyway.
So there's more temptations for you just because of part of the job.
Some of it, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes. And I think it's because of, because if you take out any kind of spiritual leader, then it just has, again, just a larger ripple effect.
So when some of these big pastors or church leaders or whatever finally do something like that, like, should we be like, well, they only did it once?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've been presented this opportunity 1,000,000 times and only did it one time.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty good?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, but I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it whether it's
like, if you're fat and ugly, you might get one chance your whole life as a dude to cheat on your wife. You know what I mean? But these guys are just swimming in temptation and resisted it 999,000 times, and then the millionth time they did it.
No,
so should we not feel so bad?
No, we should feel. I mean, I think the thing would be is, okay, they have lost credibility. Honestly, they've lost credibility in the short term as a pastor or minister of the gospel. And I think a lot of it depends on how they respond to that afterwards. I'm not saying that they can't ever pastor again. Okay. I'm just saying that there's going to have to be time and intentionality, and whether it's restoring the marriage, restoring one's own life, dealing with broken areas, and then if you do step back into ministry, kind of slow building up, and then what are the safeguards that are in place to keep that from happening again? Whether it was sexual immorality, whether it was, financial mishandlings, whatever it may be. And so, and I'm like calling like those kind of things. There's also, I think, the temptation for like just power, just going to individuals' heads and them becoming prideful and egotistical, and they can become belittling to others. They can become incredibly arrogant or rude in their words, and not willing to take any kind of criticism, not willing to take any kind of correction, and they can belittle or shame others, and so, or taking a very authoritarian stance, like my way or the highway, kind of thing, and therefore become abusive within with the power that they have. And I think individuals like that, same thing. Like, I
think I'm thinking about the lust sex stuff, because that's the stories you hear all the time.
Sure. Yeah. We don't often hear of those others, right? Yeah. Like they had a temper.
Right.
Now, I know some of those stories because of just being in
they had a temper
pastor circles,
So and
I know. Yeah, but
who even brings that up?
Yeah, but I mean, but as ministers of the gospel, like, we do have to be mindful of that stuff, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying that if someone loses their temper, it's automatic disqualification, right? Like, I'm not saying that.
So, okay, so do people need to be more forgiving with church leaders or less forgiving with church leaders when they cheat on their wife?
Okay. So here's the thing. I think they need to, if so much of this depends on how the leader responds. Okay. And here's what I mean. If the leader has genuine repentance, right? Mm-hmm. Steps down from ministry.
Okay.
We need to, in my opinion, we need to rally around that husband and that wife.
All I'm saying is, if it were any other sin and someone was tempted 1,000,000 times to do it and did it one time,
right?
That's pretty good.
And I get what you're saying.
I mean, right?
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just that, and I don't think, and I don't think, to be honest with you, as a pastor, I don't think sexual temptation is just like
the pastor's
everywhere.
Sitting there just going, "I said no."
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, no, like, I don't think
this many times.
Right. Yeah. I don't like, and I don't think the sexual, I mean, I don't think it's just like all the time there's all this just sexual temptation. Like, I don't, like, that's not the reality either, you know? And I think as long as the individual takes responsibility.
Right. Well, there's sexual temptation and more opportunity.
And more opportunity, especially if they don't do things like counseling. Like, they don't set the right guidelines for counseling. They don't set up the right guidelines of, am I going to meet with this staff member by myself kind of thing. You know, so for example, like we have a female a children's leader, right, at our church. So my staff meeting with her looks like her coming over to our house with our family. And so my wife and they're doing homeschool and we're right there in the dining room or the kitchen, like meeting, you know, like that just makes it easier, you know, or we do a Zoom meeting or a phone call or something like that. Mm. Right. And so it just keeps it again, establishing those guardrails. And I think that if you don't have those guardrails well established, that's where trouble happens.
I think you kind of like I subconsciously knew that they would get, like, the more famous you are, or the more people know you, but I didn't know it was like intentionally worse on the devil's part. Yeah. And I will say this, man, I traveled with an evangelist for a year, mm-hmm. and so he was having like a high level impact in 2 different countries, and in a lot of churches with a lot of people. And I will say some of the just blatant sexual temptation that was just right there in front of him was crazy.
Like what? Like, I mean, like literally we were in a service and this woman with like a short skirt on sits up front and just opens her legs completely. Nothing underneath. And that's how, and like, it's like, and you're just like, what in the, like, this is
that's
crazy.
Never happened to me.
Nope, me neither. And so, you know, this is crazy. And so, like, that may be like an extreme version of it. But what I'm saying is, I think the same thing happens in celebrity type statuses. I think the same thing happens in like counseling services or medical professional services. But
that's just side effects of the gig.
Correct.
Not the devil going after you on purpose more.
Yeah, well, and true, because there are people that are just wanting, you know, that. But I do think it's part of it, like you feel the connection to. But I do think you're right, for the pastor, especially for like a larger name or for an individual. I mean, it may not even be like a larger name, but it's having a pretty large impact. I do think that there's that temptation is just more present. And so I just think, you know, like, have you ever heard of the Billy Graham rule?
Yeah.
The Billy Graham rule was that he would never be alone with a woman who was not his wife. Right? That was his rule.
I thought that was the Mike Pence rule.
I don't know about Mike Pence, but that was definitely
he did the same thing.
Okay. That's the Billy Graham rule. That's what it's been called, because Billy Graham would never be with a woman by himself. And so to be honest with you,
not even his own wife,
except for his wife. That's it. And so that was, to me, I think it's a brilliant way to approach it.
Okay.
And some people didn't like it. Some people thought it was like, I've even heard like women bemoan that was the fact, because then a lot of other pastors adopted that rule themselves. And so they would not meet one-on-one with women. And I even like women staff members. And I feel like they were like, I've heard some women staff kind of bemoan the fact that was the case, because, you know, they felt like they should have been able to meet with their, you know, the senior pastor by themselves to talk about certain matters or whatever. And I'm just like, no, like the men got it right. Like, and I hate it. I hate that that's that way. But the Billy Graham rule, if all men practice that, and women, I'll go both sides, right? If men and women in leadership would practice this, man, you know how many ministries would be spared? How many lives would not be so negatively impacted by others? Like, I just think it's a brilliant rule. And I know it seems...
Plus, you can just get accused of stuff if you're alone.
Oh, 100%. All it takes is an accusation.
That's all you have. Like, we know this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, and I remember a pastor early on telling me that, like, he was like, Joseph, all it takes is one.
Yep.
Yeah, it takes one accusation and your ministry's ruined.
Yep.
And so I guess I've taken it very seriously pretty much my whole ministry time.
I think we're in a new time, though.
What do you mean?
That there's so many accusations that no one believes any of them. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, it's kind of flipped to that other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have an accusation, then you're not doing something right. You know what I mean?
Someone's going to be accusing
It's like
you
a
for
rite
something.
of passage.
I've made it. And but I do think that's part of it. And it's like, I love the fact that, I think that I love the fact that we do have I have these guardrails and boundaries with people, there's a reason, in 1 Timothy 3, when it talks about the qualifications of an elder or pastor, shepherd, that one of those qualifications is, that from those of the outside speak well of you, right? Like, I think that's an important thing. It's because it's like, if you have a trashed reputation, right, that's hard to recover from. And so, again, it's one thing when someone falls and then they handle it rightly. Because even if they handle it rightly, they've fallen, at least those from the outside looking in or those that know of it can go, you know what? Yeah, this person, fell because of this situation or at this time, but look at how they've handled their lives since. And I think that's the biggest thing of going, okay, they felt shame, right? I mean, obviously, an embarrassment. They felt shame and embarrassment for long enough. We can move on. But man, for those that deny it at every turn and all cost and covered up,
pay people off.
Yep. I mean, no, like, done.
Yep.
Like, I'm done. So, that is where my mercy, I guess, kind of ends a little bit, because there have been those that have been like, found out they covered it up 20 years ago.
Because that seems like they didn't need to be tempted.
Yeah.
When they do all that stuff, right?
Or it just shows, I think it shows their true character.
Right.
Yeah. And
like who they are. So they tempted themselves instead of the devil needing to come.
Yeah, or there was the evil desire that was already present.
Yeah.
Right. Going back to kind of the first James.
Right.
Or James 1, excuse me. There's not a first James. James 1. Yeah. So. I'm just adding books to the Bible. That's not good.
Can getting tempted by the devil ever be a good thing?
Being tempted be a good thing? I think it's something to be expected. I don't know if I'd ever label it as a good thing. Okay. I mean, the thing that temptation does, right? Like if we pass that test, if you were, right? Like we don't enter into the temptation.
Okay.
Then I think the one thing it does do that is good is that it's solidifying or fortifying our own character.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's a good byproduct of resisting temptation. Okay. But I don't think temptation in and of itself is like good in the sense of, all right, good, I was tempted again. Like not that way.
Okay.
But in the sense of, I'm no longer stepping into this temptation.
Okay.
That is good because it's hopefully there's a proving, there's a showing of the character, within me.
Okay, can it get easier to resist temptation if you resist temptation more often? And can it get harder to resist temptation if you give in to temptation more often? Yes and yes. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's like when you're dealing like with addictions, right? Like oftentimes the longer you go being free, the easier it is to stay free of that addiction, right?
Okay.
Like the longer I go, without abusing a substance.
Can resisting temptation be a habit that you form? Okay.
Correct. And so whereas on the other hand, if I keep giving in to temptation, all it's doing is just probably numbing me to the fact that, that's what I'm doing is wrong. But it's like, but I'm just going to keep on doing it,
But if I resist temptation, wouldn't that mean that the devil would stop tempting? Like if I resist it too many times and the mission is futile, for the devil, wouldn't he just stop trying to tempt me with that?
I think, again,
and pick something else?
I think it's probably like the devil understanding our own bents and our own inclinations to those things.
Okay.
You know, like oftentimes we become, you know, we repeat sin patterns based upon something that's going on in our own lives, right? The own inclinations of our own hearts.
What is a sin pattern?
Like when we enter into like habitual sins.
Okay.
So like whether like, I mean, that could be like addictions, right? Like substance abuse or porn or those kind of things.
Like floral or plaid?
No, not floral plaid. And so, but habits that we have created where we are constantly engaging in sin, right?
Okay.
And again, it can be like those kind of things.
So it's not like I do this sin and then this sin makes me do this sin and then this sin.
Like a domino effect kind of thing. No, I'm not talking about like a domino effect. I'm talking about like a repeated.
Okay.
Repeated
That's what
action.
a sin pattern is.
Yeah, like a repeated action.
Okay.
You know, and so to me, that's like the habitual sins that we get into, and so we keep repeating the same sin over and over and over again. Okay. I do think that, and then let's say we stop that and we resist that for a long time, but I think the devil still knows that's been there, so that still could be a hook, if you were, in us, or a chink in our armor, wherever you want call it that, or
like when we get real low, that might pop up again.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden I'm battling, something else, right? I get laid off from a job, a relationship falls apart, whatever, right?
Okay.
Then it's like all of that stuff can come screaming back up to the front.
Okay.
And so I think those things can happen. And I've seen it with individuals who become really successful and actually don't know how to handle the success well. Those things will creep back up into their lives.
I hope I get a chance in this life to experience not knowing how to handle success well.
That's what it is. That's a goal in life for you. Yeah. I've become so successful.
God, I want to be so rich and broken.
That's terrible. Hopefully by the time you experience success, Nate, then we'll be able to be like, yeah, good.
Yeah, that was easy. What was everyone complaining about?
Right. Not a big deal here.
Yeah.
And so I do think that can happen. Yes. And I do think, but I will say also that I do think the enemy will begin to attack from other avenues as well.
All right. So if the devil is just going to keep, like if I plug one hole and resist that temptation long enough, he's just going to come at me from another angle or with something else.
Sure.
Why even try to plug the hole? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think that
why not just stay here the whole time?
Here's my sin.
Yeah.
And I've gotten really good at it.
And I'll resist it, and then he'll just let a little bit in. And then, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just keep that flowing so he doesn't move on to something else. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got what you're saying.
Like, if I'm just going to be putting up with this my whole life, why even try?
And the reason we don't just, stay in the same sin is because I think when, all right, plug one hole to use your reference there, then, what's happening is we're forming character in different areas. And that may sound like exhausting, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I think when, we grow in character here, and then the devil begins attacking us over here, and then we begin to grow in character there. In other words, all of it is actually causing us to look more like Jesus. And so as we grow in our character, we look more Christ-like. And so I think that's one of the reasons we don't just go, well, I'm just going to stay with this sin. No, I want to get free of this sin, be free of this sin, have character in this area. I understand I'm going to get tempted.
And start sinning in this way.
And then I get tempted in other ways. And then it's another growth point for me. And so I think that all of it is, for me, I see it through the lens of growth and the lens of character formation and Christ being formed in me.
Okay, but that would only make sense if... Okay, so does resisting temptation become a habit that is easier to... just resisting any temptation in general, is that a is that a thing that people get better at doing? Because what's the point of if I'm good at resisting temptation 80% of the time, and then the devil stops trying to attack me with this one, and now I'm good at resisting this temptation 80% of the time, who cares?
Yeah, right. But so like, all right, let's say the one over here, the all right, the issue of lust, or like, let's say pornography, right? Like, okay, I'm not dealing with that anymore. I've become free from it. Okay, so now my mind is free from all of that stuff, right?
Right.
And
but now it's being tempted with this other thing, so that fills the hole.
Well, okay, but because I've overcome this, okay, and so my mind is not stuck on this over here, right? Okay, you're right. Now it could become something on this side of like, okay, now I'm dealing with a temptation of always of like, okay. One of the things that I'll use a personal thing for me.
All right.
One of the things that happened with me was that like when I entered into confessing and freedom of pornography years ago, I began to gain weight, right?
Okay.
And it was like trading dopamine
because you weren't working out as much while watching all that porn.
Well, no, it was like exchange. No, like
you weren't using that energy anymore.
No, well, the porn. No. The porn was done.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. No, the porn was done, and so now it's like, okay, but what am I? Because now my brain is still searching for dopamine releases. Okay. Right? And so now there is a neurological thing, a physiological thing that's actually happening within me of needing dopamine releases. And so it's like, okay, food becomes the answer, right? Okay. And the enemy knows that is what I'm getting to. So now the enemy's playing into that. Okay.
So how is that growth?
Yeah.
Why not just stick with the porn?
Right. Because
I don't get it.
I understand because both of them are sin, right?
Right.
And so, but for me, this over here, pornography, was way more detrimental, both in my own mind and my relationship with my wife, right? All of that.
So there's sins that can mess up your life more, and the devil's going to start with all of those. And then move on to the next ones.
I don't know if it's a sin that's going to mess up your life more. Let's start with those, but I do think that
I'm just confused on how this is growth.
Right.
Why is moving from
one to the
other growth?
Because now we've grown here. That's actual growth here, right?
Okay.
Free of porn, okay? And so now understanding sexuality in a healthier way, viewing sexuality in a healthier way. And for me, it's health, it's growth in all those areas. So now coming over here to the food for thing, right? And so now it's like, oh, now we're going to, and I understand what you're saying, because it's like you're replacing one with the other.
Right.
Both of them unhealthy for you. And so I'm not denying the unhealthy part, but it's like, okay, over here, now can I learn can I learn self-control in this area, And so there's like
so there's like what?
So I think there's an ability to grow and look more like Christ in resisting temptation and not having to just always move or be or move towards just the things of the flesh, right?
Okay.
And so I do think that there's and maybe it's like you're going, well, exchanging lust of the eyes for lust of the flesh, right? Almost like that's what we're exchanging.
That's what I'm not getting. So how is that growth?
Well, because then hopefully you can become, all right, here, let's deal with this.
Will that take faster? Is there a finite amount of areas?
I don't think
get it.
Yeah, no, I think we're growing forever, honestly, Nate.
But how is that growing? That's my whole point of my question.
Okay.
I don't get how that's growing. Why don't I just stay here?
Right.
And try to resist enough of the time so that the devil doesn't move on to something else.
Right. Yeah, but okay, but you
you get what I'm saying?
I understand, but you're also just absolutely cutting off every ability to become more Christ-like in other areas, whether that's your, so we talked about pornography, we talked about eating, we talked about temper, we're talking about, like how we treat other people, all those kind of things. Like, I think there's just areas of gaining Christ likeness in Christ's heart, in Christ's perspective in all of those areas, and becoming more honoring, toward him.
Okay.
And toward others. And so, I get what you're saying. It's like, well, there's always going to be sin. Just let there be a sin that I know. Is
right.
that, kind of what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah.
But that's not what the Lord would have for us.
A sin I've spent a long time learning to
hang out with.
Yeah. To just, yeah.
No big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a terrible perspective. Mm-hmm. And so, because I think that
I feel like that's a perspective people have, though.
Sure. Like, almost like, this is my battle. Yeah. Yeah. This is what I deal with.
Right.
Over here. And because I don't. Or
is that a deal with the devil?
Yeah, because I think that here's a problem. I think there's one thing when I'm battling with areas of sin, right? Like, just across the board, like just sin in general. But when one area is completely ruling my life, okay, that's highly problematic.
I need to stop that,
right,
and find some other area to completely rule my life.
I think that what we're hoping for is that there's no habitual sins that all of those habitual sins cease, that they stop to exist, that there's no one thing that's just constantly ruling me. Okay. And
I guess that's what I'm saying is it easier if I'm going to ask the Lord to help me stop doing whatever thing I'm being the most tempted with.
Right.
Is that going to help me deal with the next?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With the next thing that I'm the most tempted with.
Yes. Because I think you could see it.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
I think you can see it, call it out for what it is, right?
Okay.
And you've learned certain habits or principles to apply to this area as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So that helps.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this time.
All right, man.
Cool. Okay, well, this has been the When I Heard This Podcast. You can follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at When I Heard This Podcast, and X and locals at When I've Heard This. Ring the notification bell. Tell everyone that you know about the show, and go to the website where there's t-shirts. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nate Robinsoff. You can follow Joseph on Instagram at
Rev Joe T.
This has been the When I Heard This Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.